Tonight's top story. War rages on in Detroit. A nuke floods the streets as a new gang leader emerges.
Yo, look at these beauties, huh?
RoboCop Rogue City is a very fun game of the most famous half-man half-machine cop, an iconic character. The game is a first-person shooter, but instead of a normal FPS game, this one mixes and adapts the gameplay to suit perfectly in a RoboCop game, and it worked really well.
Can you fly?
It was developed by the studio Teon, and released in 2023 to PlayStation 4, Xbox Series, Mac OS and Windows, and is a game that every fan of RoboCop should play.
What the hell is this? Where is all the money?
We all saw it hesitate in a life and death situation. Why?
Listen, I would trust this guy with my kids. I mean, if I had any.
The city of Old Detroit has been hit by a crime wave, with a new enemy threatening the peace and order. Your investigation leads you right into the heart of a shadow conspiracy in an original story that takes place between RoboCop 2 and 3. A game with realistic graphics and a gameplay that allow you to really feel like RoboCop with the brutality that a game of this classic character deserves. In the end, this game proves that a small studio can do a great work with passion and dedication.
We'll show you how. Because it's important to remember the nuke crisis seemed unstoppable, but not to RoboCop. He is the perfect policeman, versatile with a wide variety of weapons, ready to defend us with OCP's cutting-edge technology. And he's not alone.
You're okay there, Murphy?
Yep, that's me. And you're probably wondering how I ended up here.
Hi-Fi Rush is an amazing action-adventure game, mixing hack and slash and rhythm, what makes the game absolutely satisfying from the start to the end.
Check this out. Music player in my chest. It's powering up my new robot arm. Whoa.
It was developed by the studio Tango Gameworks and released in 2023 to Xbox Series and Windows, but later it was also released on PlayStation 5 as Microsoft started to launch some of their games on PlayStation. Despite it's no longer a Microsoft game, it was till they closed and sold the studio.
The name's Chai, not Defect.
Is this the guy?
We'll take down this company.
Feel the beat as wannabe rockstar Chai and his ragtag team of allies rebel against an evil robotics enhancement megacorp with raucous rhythm combat. A game with a stylish visual style that looks like a 2000s cartoon with beautiful animations and amazing voice acting, and an intense gameplay filled with action and soundtrack. If you've never played any rhythm game before, don't worry, this is a game that you'll understand its mechanics really fast, and I assure you that it'll hook you in the first hours of gameplay.
Oh, hold on, did you just feel that? That beat?
Death's Door is an incredible action-adventure game. It was developed by the studio Acid Nerve and released in 2021 to PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, Nintendo Switch, and PC. The game is set in an extremely interesting world. You're a crow, and also a reaper, and must use many different powers and weapons to reap the soul of the dead. The gameplay is really interesting, with a fluid combat, giving you different powers and weapons as you progress in the game. The structure resembles a Souls-like in some aspects, like a bonfire. When you rest there, the enemies will reappear, insane boss fights, and a little bit of difficulty, but it's not really hard. But I'm sure that if you start playing this game you won't want to stop playing so soon. Sifu is a realistic third-person brawler with tight kung fu combat mechanics and cinematic martial arts action, embarking you on a path for revenge. A game developed by the studio Slocklap and released in 2023 to PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox One and Series, Nintendo Switch and Windows, and is an amazing game that mixes a beat 'em up with a challenging tight gameplay that many Souls-like fans loved. Whether you choose to play as a male or a female character, in Sifu you will ponder that question on your path for revenge, hunting down your family's assassins. One against all, you have no allies, countless enemies, and a mysterious amulet to bring you back to life every time you die. Yet, be warned, your secret weapon comes with a hefty price to pay, aging and its consequences. Every time you die you'll return older, so it'll start making the character weaker in some point, so it'll be even harder now. This mechanic is interesting for players that like to master the mechanics of the game, so it's a good challenge to try to beat the game as younger as you can.
In international news, a leading arms trafficker is reported to have been found executed. Mohammed Omar bin Nasri, based in a remote part of Saudi Arabia, was in possession of over $100 million worth of small arms, ammunition, missiles, and vehicles.
Alpha Protocol is a forgotten and underrated third-person game that mixes a good action with RPG mechanics, stealth gameplay, and a deep storyline. Even with choices, what for a 2010 game is not as common as nowadays. The game was developed by the studio Obsidian Entertainment and released in 2010 to PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and PC, but for some reason this game was never really famous. But today I'm here to introduce you this great game. Loyalty carries a price, and no one knows this more than Agent Michael Thornton. A talented young agent cast out by his government, Thornton is the only one with the information needed to stop an impending international catastrophe. So if you're searching for a forgotten game that deserves to be remembered, this is a very good one, so go ahead and have fun.
I wish I could tell you who to trust. You are operating under Alpha Protocol.
Over and over, I relive my first moments on this alien planet. The crash.
Returnal was one of the first games released on PlayStation 5, developed by the studio Housemarque, and released in 2021 to PlayStation 5, and in 2023, it was also released on Windows.
Even death is no escape. Each time I awake, this planet seems somehow different.
After crash landing on this shape-shifting world, Celine must search through the barren landscape of an ancient civilization for her escape. Isolated and alone, she finds herself fighting tooth and nail for survival. A game with a mysterious story, at least in the start, as it's a roguelike. Every death you'll come back stronger, and with new informations of the story and the gameplay itself, what will make you get further more and more. It was one of the first roguelike games with a 3D and realistic visual, all set in a third-person camera. The combat is frantic and fluid, with many weapons, enemies, abilities, and more, so every attempt will be different in many aspects of gameplay. So if you never played it and like third-person shooter and roguelike games, this is a perfect mix of both.
Forward, your lives will be forever changed.
Wait, Jackie Ma, I'm in.
Find a way to make him trust you.
Sleeping Dogs is an amazing open-world action-adventure. It's set in a style similar to Grand Theft Auto, with many mechanics really similar, but all with its own style and personality.
You're a cop. I'm an undercover cop. The rules are different.
It was developed by the studio United Front Games and released in 2012 to PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and PC, but later it was also released for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, with a definitive edition version with more content and a better performance in general.
Sit down and shut the fuck up.
In the game you can explore the world in different ways: bikes, cars, bus, and much more. The combat is divided in two different ways: fighting, and different weapons such as pistols, rifles, and more. The biggest part of the game, the combat, will be like a beat 'em up, with many different moves. What's really good, and as you advance in the game you'll be learning new moves. What's really fun for an action game to have features like this, so it'll always be getting better and better. So if you like open world games, this one is an amazing game, with a great storyline, fluid gameplay, and a lot of content that will get you hooked for a long time.
This is insane.
AI Limit is an interesting Souls-like game, mixing an anime graphic style but with some realistic details. For the fans of action RPG, this game is an interesting option if you're searching for a different game to play.
It's a realm surrounded by springs and waterfalls, where flowers bloom and trees thrive.
The game was developed by the studio Sense Games and released in March of 2025 to PlayStation 5 and Windows, and this is not a full price game, so you're going to find it in a very good price. In the distant future, when civilization is on the verge of extinction, people follow the legend of the Elysium and the last city, Havenswell. In this post-apocalyptic wasteland sci-fi ARPG, you will play as Orisa, a blader with immortality, and explore the city ruined to find the hope of a new life. Despite the game is simple graphically, its gameplay is really fun, with interesting weapons and incredible boss fights, so this is a very interesting game to choose as your next Souls-like adventure.
We are the same. Seeking after far-fetched goals with crippled memories. However, I'm just a feeble scholar, while you possess power. Animal Well is an amazing and unique Metroidvania game that, different of most games in this style, it's not focused in combat, but in puzzles and exploration. It was developed by a single person, Billy Basso, and was released in 2024 to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, Nintendo Switch, and Windows, and was one of the best indie games of 2024. Explore a dense, interconnected labyrinth and unravel its many secrets. Collect items to manipulate your environment in surprising and meaningful ways. Encounter beautiful and unsettling creatures as you attempt to survive what lurks in the dark. A game with impressive visuals and a riveting universe. Every new puzzle will make you love even more the game, as its gameplay and immersion is absolute apex. A game that reinvented the Metroidvania subgenre and did an amazing job with every aspect of the game, creating an amazing and interesting experience.
This is incredible! Juliet, you actually made it! Fantastic!
Lollipop Chainsaw is a hidden gem of video games, an action game with a hack-and-slash approach, mixing a gorgeous female protagonist and a frantic gameplay.
I I've been getting so lonely since you've been wasting all my dark purveyors.
The game was developed by the studio Grasshopper Manufacture and released in 2012 to PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, but in 2024 a remastered version was released with some changes, but still a very fun game, and it's available on PlayStation 4 and 5, Nintendo Switch, Xbox One and Series, and Windows.
This is so irritating.
San Romero High School has been overrun by zombies, and it's up to cheerleader Juliet to save the day. But Juliet isn't just any high school cheerleader. As part of a legendary family of zombie hunters, she's more than equipped to fight the undead hordes. Using her acrobatic cheerleading skills, zombie slaying expertise, and a seriously powerful chainsaw, she'll face down an army of the living dead and the evil forces behind them. So if you missed this game in the past and want to play something in the style of PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, this game is surely going to make you have a good time.
Poor Lewis here is the only one left.
And there's about to be none. Bring